Hello, and welcome to the Daily Message. I'm Sally Messner, Director of Worship and Music, and today is Friday, February 12th. Today we will sing what might be a new hymn to some of you. It's a paraphrase of Psalm 42 and other parts of Scripture. It is by a Black church musician, and it's in our hymnal. We will sing it in a couple of weeks. I don't recall right now whether it's for the first Sunday in Lent or the second Sunday in Lent, but one of those. So we'll be singing it soon. I'll read now to you from the ELW Hymnal Companion a little bit of information about the text and then about the musician who wrote the tune. Recalling Psalm 42, Exodus 17, Isaiah 55, and John 7, and the water they include, Herman G. Stumpfli Jr. has fashioned a hymn that points to Jesus as the source of living water and to baptisms that come at the end of the Lenten preparation. It was written in 2002 and published in Wondrous Love Has Called Us, printed in 2006. Herman Stumpfli Jr. is a name that you might recognize from ELW and LBW, perhaps even in hymnals before that, but I can't say for sure. He lived from 1923 until 2007. The name of this tune is Julian, and it's named after James Julian Mann, who was the first person for whom this tune was played. He is a composer, he was a pianist, sometimes organist, and a friend of the composer of this tune. The composer is David Hurd, who was born in 1950. David Hurd writes music in 20th century styles that some might consider angular. It is not run-of-the-mill. When intended for congregational singing, Hurd combines high art and congregational impulses. The tune is pentatonic, an unusual choice for most composers among us. Though in F major, it uses only 5 notes of the scale. That's what pentatonic means, that it just uses 5 notes of a scale rather than all 7 notes of a scale. Tunes of this nature tend to sound Asian, and you'll find this style prevalent in Asian tunes, even in some of the tunes in our hymnal. Also, early American. Funnily enough, you might not think that those two cultures would be related, but those tunes, that style appears also in early American music. So if you look at the tune for Amazing Grace, that is also a pentatonic tune, meaning it only uses 5 scale steps. Without its harmonization, even though it is clearly in a Western major key, one may sense that it exudes an Asian or antique feel. However, the way Hurd conceived it, the pentatonic Asian or antique quality virtually disappears because of the introduction and interlude he included and intended to be used. So I just discovered today that this interlude and introduction are in the hymnal 1982, which is the Episcopal hymnal. Those things are not included in ELW. So I've already recorded the hymn, but if I make it back to church and the organ is working, which it is now, we had a little hiccup last week where the router was out. Who would think that your organ doesn't work because the router is out? But now we have a new one and it's working. Anyway, if I have a chance to, before we use this hymn and sing it in worship, I will probably go back and record the introduction and interlude, knowing that that is how David Hurd intended the hymn to be played and sung. The nuance here, writes Hurd, is that while the melody alone is pentatonic, I did not conceive of the melody apart from its harmonic and textural context. My frame of reference was much closer to the Franz Schubert strophic art song, which Calvin Hampton so ably used as a model for many of his hymn settings. No matter how it is done, it sings well and sets this text with a paradoxically objective desire. We have here, however, a typical hymnic instance where the intentions of the composer did not stay with his tune, in this case in ELW, and the tune itself has taken on a life of its own without them. David Hurd is a professor of church music, organist and director of the chapel at General Theological Seminary in New York City, and organist at the Church of the Holy Apostles. He was born in Brooklyn and attended the High School of Music and Art and Juilliard School of Music. After graduated from Oberlin College, he held positions in churches as organist, music director, and composer in residence, among them at Trinity Episcopal Church on Wall Street in New York City. He was a graduate student at the University of North Carolina and taught at Duke University. He has taught at the Yale Institute of Sacred Music, Westminster Choir College, and been a member of the Standing Commission on Church Music in the Episcopal Church. So, let's sing hymn number 331, As the Deer Runs to the River. As the deer runs to the river, parched and weary from the chase, we have come from hurt and hurry, thirsting for your healing grace. Jesus, source of living water, may we drink of you and live. When your Israel crossed the desert, where no stream or spring was seen, Moses struck the rock and water flowed for them, refreshing clean. Jesus, source of living water, may we drink of you and live. Come and drink, Isaiah summoned, all who for God's mercy plead. God's forgiveness like a fountain flows to satisfy your need. Jesus, source of living water, may we drink of you and live. Christ, we come from desert places, deepest thirst unsatisfied. Lead us to the waters flowing from the cross on which you died. Jesus, source of living water, may we drink of you and live. Let us pray. Sovereign of the universe, your first covenant of mercy was with every living creature. When your beloved Son came among us, the waters of the river welcomed him. The heavens opened to greet his arrival. The animals of the wilderness drew near as his companions. With all the world's people, may we who are washed into new life through baptism seek the way of your new creation, the way of justice and care, mercy and peace. O God, we thank you for times of refreshment and peace in the course of this busy life. Grant that we may so use our leisure for the renewal of our bodies and minds, that our spirits may be opened to the goodness of your creation. Through Jesus Christ, our Savior and Lord. Amen. Remember that Jesus is here with us, Emmanuel. Be smart, stay safe, and I'll see you on Sunday.